Yeah.
This meeting is being recorded.
All right, everyone. It's Omega Robert here. Welcome to the third governance call. Today we're going to be kind of having like an open discussion, kind of roundtable kind of topics about governance for the project and in general, and how to improve it. Going over the importance of it and just different topics that are relevant to governance here. Also covering a few items on the governance schedule. One is a vote that's currently up right now on chain, which is the restructuring of the LP rewards. Also, we have some Bifrost users who needed to claim air, may have missed the deadline due to miscommunication. So after exhausting all options, we're going to put forth a proposal to use a bit of air from the treasury to reward them for their contribution. And also on the horizon, we have the renewal of rewards for the Aave RWA Market, which is coming up soon. So yeah, so I think we can go over these first few items, and then we can open up the discussion to everyone about their if they have any ideas or questions about governance, and yeah, how it's going to evolve going forward. So I think we can just start by covering the LP rewards restructuring that's currently ongoing. The vote's live now on chain. I know Ash, are you here, Ash? I know Ash helped confirm, helped put up that vote and proposal on chain. So not sure if Ash or Lucas want to comment on that.
Yeah, that proposal was just to establish a global daily reward for Tin Lake rewards, and so it helps better manage our issuance. So it really should be something that all CFG token holders should be happy about, I would say.
Yeah, we can post a link to the proposal there in the forum, which describes all the details. Basically just creates like a simple formula that takes the total value locked and creates like a more stable and consistent reward rate for LP. So, yeah. But we encourage everyone to vote on chain. And if you haven't voted on chain before, besides consulting the documentation, you can always reach out to us in Discord or any of our channels, and we're always happy to help guide you through it. And then also we have, I guess Ash, you can also probably comment on this too. We've been working on this together a little bit, but in consultation with the team. But also regarding the Aave RWA Market rewards renewal, I think ultimately the decision there was to keep the rates the same as before, right?
Yeah, keep the rates the same, essentially, so we can hit that target of 50 million. And yeah, it's so the Tin Lake LP rewards restructuring is essentially the same, establish the same framework as these Aave rewards, and that there's a global daily reward that's distributed among all investors.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we definitely want to keep that going so we can keep increasing the TVL there on Aave. So.
Can you say more about why it's 50 million, or give some more context? Ash.
Oh,
That's what I heard you
Yeah.
say.
Maybe Lucas can take this one. Not too sure. I think 50 million was just could have been an arbitrary number. I'm not sure, but I do know that that's what was mentioned in the framework proposed by Lucas at the beginning. And since we haven't reached that, so that was the justification why the rates weren't changed.
Okay, and Fabian, did you want to comment on that? Because that's something that we can discuss as well. Okay, well, perhaps in the channels.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, my 2 weeks baby is nearby, so I try to save you all from screaming and crying. No, yeah, I seriously think that pushing the Aave market by creating an insane amount of rewards, it's very bad, the pool. I can give you an example. For example, on 2 pools we kind of manage, we're having a very large amount of withdrawal, and part of this money go to the Aave market. So if you want to create centralization, I think it's a good way to do it, because people do arbitrage, so they withdraw money from these pools, and part of it you can refine it in a reward assets market pool. So I don't think it's a super good idea to centralize, to create centralization, but it's just my opinion. Obviously, I'm one of many people, so I think it's encouraging centralization. I think is not a good thing. I think onboarding other like debt fund into the Centrifuge platform to create not just one, which is Aave, but multiple ones makes sense. Like basically integrating more Aave into more different Aave type of structure into the Centrifuge platform, it makes sense. But pushing for one to become the dominant one, again, is like we're going very far away from decentralization.
I guess if I could add, Ash and Kate, if I could add a little bit to that, I think my understanding is there's a strong desire to just keep the net effective rewards of the RWA market very similar to what they would be if you invested in drop via Tin Lake and got the CFG rewards that go along with that. Because if you, like Fabian was saying, if you let one or the other go out of balance, then you'll create this big incentive for people to pull their money out of the less favorable rewards pool and put it into the more favorable one, and just create a lot of wasted kind of transactions for everybody.
Yeah, I love it. It's not new. Basically, you don't have new money. It's like all money recycled from A to B. It's like left pocket, right pocket. And I don't think, and you lose more CFG. So your buying power is like going down, and the money just move from A to B. I don't think it's efficient.
So then, if you look at addresses, there's very little of the 10 million in the Aave. Of the 10 million in the Aave market, a tiny fraction is from wallets that have previously invested in Tin Lake.
Lucas, I had to cover $2.7 million withdrawal on Bling and Branch of my pocket, and more than 1 million get back to the real world asset. It's
okay, so 10% of the Aave market is 10% of the Aave
30% of the pool.
Yeah,
for
but
one
overall pool. of Tin Lake TVL, it's basically nothing. We have like
20% of TVL, Lucas, right?
No, like if you're saying 1 million that you've seen go from your pool to the Aave market, that's
okay, 10%.
That's like 10% of the market, right? Right.
It's huge. But it's just for, and Lucas, it's just for Bling, but you can see that across other pools. And I checked the amount of withdrawal on New Silver and other. It's huge. Like I think it's like 4 million total withdrawal from all across the pools. So I'm just talking about only for Bling and Branch, but you can see that across different pools. again, is like we're burning CFG at crazy rates, and we try to incentive a market that people will exit as soon as they have another opportunity. So I don't think it's I think it's a very nice play short term to make a nice announcement, but I don't think it's a long term play, and I don't think we should do that. But again, I'm one of many people here, so I just want to give another voice. But yeah, you do whatever, guys.
I mean, it's like I think all this data is public. I think we're mostly talking about anecdotal individual pools. I think the last time I checked, and I also only did spot checking, and maybe it would be great if someone could actually look at where the money is flowing and where like really we have seen like TVL of direct investment pools have gone down, but
I think Lucas is on a train. Apologies. I have looked a bit at this data, and I think, as Fabian mentioned, there was one specific. Sorry, Lucas, you're dropping. Anyways, there's one specific investor that moved over, a rather large investor. I think the differential here is like how Aave structures their rewards versus like the Tin-like pool. So there is a little bit of an arbitrage opportunity if you move kind of quickly into the Aave rewards when they're very high, versus the kind of the average over the month. But I think as the pool grows and we have better kind of forecasts of where it is, those differentials should be getting tighter and tighter. And we are trying to, model the rewards so that they are in line with Tin-like investors. And I also think that it's, it is a great way to provide liquidity to the individual Tin-like pools by giving more, making the underlying investments more liquid. So I think it is an interesting product, a different kind of investor experience. But we're definitely trying to tighten that up as we go forward. And I think as the market matures, I think that experience should improve for both our asset originators and investors in terms of what reward rate they're getting. But we are monitoring that closely, Fabian.
Yeah, would you maybe say that this is something that we're just doing right now that is just to kind of kickstart the program there, and of course over time that this will be adjusted and it'll find a sort of equilibrium?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you launch something new, it's hard to say how much the assets are going to grow, right? When we have no data points to start, as we start collecting data and we can see, how much liquidity is in the Aave market, we can much more accurately model rewards, I guess, on growth expectations than from day one. We only launched this a couple months ago, so it was very nascent, and we're always looking to improve it and make sure those ARB opportunities aren't as juicy and maybe aren't attractive for people to kind of exploit going forward.
Mike, I think you did an awesome job. Like seriously, as a CFG investor, like I think you're good. Like the Aave market is amazing, right? What I'm saying is not like you didn't do a good job. I think it's amazing. What I'm saying is that when we do a partnership, like I see that as a joint venture between Aave and Centrifuge. To me, it's like a joint venture, right? And we should tap into Aave liquidity, which is a very huge liquidity pool. And right now, I'm feeling like the cup has been filled mostly by Centrifuge existing users and not Aave existing users. And I think we need to make sure that the TVL grow in this type of markets actually come from our partners in this joint venture, which is Aave. So we need to find a way to market the Aave participant to make sure the real world asset get flooded by these people. And I think also we need to find a way to we have Maker, we have Aave. I'm sure we can integrate DAVO at some point to other like debt fund into this to create more markets, but creating a centralization market, which is Aave, will be like, if Aave is 50 million, it's going to be basically 99% of the TVL on Centrifuge, which is like totally what we try to avoid, which is 100% centralization.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll push back just on a couple of points. I think Aave has contributed quite heavily to their Aave users, and people involved have contributed quite heavily to the liquidity in that market. I think we also have to be cognizant of, you know, Centrifuge's position in Aave and building that relationship to eventually try and access their users. And as they build out, you know, different functionalities and start thinking about institutional investors and, you know, their KYC environment and all this stuff, I think there's a lot of like kind of cross-pollination that can happen there with the communities, and we're excited to explore that. I think it just takes a little bit of time, and we have to be aware that we're only a couple months in with this market, and we'll continue looking to grow that. But happy to take this offline, Fabian, and talk about it more and more over time. And I think, you know, to your point, I don't think Aave has to be the only market we integrate with, and I hope it's definitely not the last one that we do such a integration with. I think it's a very key one given their position in the ecosystem, but there's a lot more players that, you know, that we may integrate with on that front too, to your point, to reduce the kind of centralized aspects of focusing on one partner.
Yeah, sorry, Sam, you had your hand up for a while. Did you want to say something?
So wanted to echo what Fabian was saying, that in marketplaces where there's greater optionality and ease of contribution, that is value to the creditor. And if anything, there should be less incentive for participating in these outlets indirectly, and more coming into the Centrifuge platform and participating directly rather than inverse, so that we incentivize more direct contributions. I'm not talking about the absolute rates. I'm just talking about the difference. And the secondary comment is, I think it would also signal well if there was an attempt to reduce or release a schedule of reduction of the overall rates, so that that incentivizes, you know, earlier participation, because people know if they participate now, it will be more beneficial for them. And then it also signals those who are currently locking in assets that their centrifuge rewards will more likely to appreciate. Right now, I see there's a greater incentive to sell because it's always in a downward trajectory and no particular end in sight to reduction of the centrifuge emissions.
I think I wanna share like one, or respond to one thing here. Sorry for the background noise, but with Aave, the rewards model is not a fixed emission per dollar in TVL, right? That's precisely the idea, and also why we want to implement this structure. And this is what the democracy vote is about. It's like the rewards are split on all among everyone eligible for rewards. So what this means is if the market size in Aave doubles, the reward per dollar in the market is cut in half. So this incentivizes people to come in early and help grow the market quickly, because the smaller it is, the higher the rewards. And obviously the opposite is true as well. And so that's the market has like grown slower than expected, and that's maybe why the rewards are still higher than they are on like Tin Lake, directly investing pools. But really, like, it's kind of hard to make these predictions, as Mike mentioned, especially in a market like it is right now, right? But if we like cutting rewards now, like not expecting it to grow anymore at all, would not be, I don't think, the right reaction for that reason. And the other thing is, like, we have been like actually lowering emissions on CFG over the past couple of votes that the community decided on numbers of CFG being emitted. I don't have the numbers. It would actually be interesting to see if someone wanted to collect and sort of analyze this, but CFG emission is going down significantly, and will also go down significantly with stopping the parachain, stopping proof of stake rewards.
Yeah, in a way, if we unconfounded the two things of, hey, if we were to reward based on TVL rather than predetermined pools, which it seems like will be part of the proposal that you were mentioning, then it simplifies the conversation. Yep, I'm with you. And thanks for clarifying the reduction over time.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for the input, everyone. This is really the point of governance, right? Just to get everyone's feedback and opinions. So yeah, we can definitely continue the conversation in the channels. Of course, the forum post will be up soon, where we can continue it there as well. So yeah, thanks everyone. So yeah, moving on to the last little item here, which is the Bifrost users who were not able to claim their air. We think we pretty much exhausted every technical attempt at getting them to claim. So the idea is to put forth a proposal to mint, not mint, but use air from the treasury to reward these users. I believe there's 8 users, eight addresses that still need to mint. So next week we'll be hashing out the details of that and putting forth the proposal there. So if anyone has any issues or dissenting opinions with that, we can hear those opinions in the channels and in the forum as well. So I know Yvonne has been handling that for a while now, and I think Cassidy has the more technical details on it, but yeah, that's the gist of it right now. So there'll be more details in the proposal next week, end of next week. So. Anybody have any questions on that one?
Yeah, just a point of clarification. Are we able to take any measures so the inability to claim doesn't occur again?
Yeah, can anyone from the dev team maybe comment on that?
I mean, most of the reason that these issues came up was because it was the first time any parachain project has launched and given rewards to crowdloan participants. So I'm pretty confident that we won't see these kind of issues the next time around.
All right, it seems like it was just growing pains from the newness of the whole parachain experience. So, yeah, but me and Cassidy and Yvonne are gonna have a call next week, and or I think maybe just me and Cassidy even, and hash out the details and put forward the proposal. So all the details will be there, but yeah, I guess we don't see this being an issue going forward. Yeah. So.
Thank you for that. Maybe a quick follow-up. With future plans for distributions to developers or DAOs, before these are implemented, do we want to initiate a process of having a third-party audit of smart contracts involved, maybe from QuantStamp or so on?
So there's actually an audit ongoing right now for the pools that will be launched on both Altair and Centchain. So the details of that will be published obviously once it's finished. And that's actually using the audit team that has the most experience with Substrate.
Great. Which company is doing that?
SR Labs. Sorry, forgot the name for a sec. Thanks,
No.
Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
Lucas wrote it in the chat.
All right. So yeah, yeah, that'll be published soon for anybody to check the details and comment on there. So unless there's any more questions regarding any of those items, I wanted to just go forward and kind of open up the floor to everyone. I have my own ideas and questions to put forth, but I believe we have a good core community amongst us of investors, asset originators, validators, the team, obviously the ambassadors. But the idea here is to really just start thinking and kind of brainstorming about what we can do to increase participation in governance amongst maybe the average investor or new users of the protocol. What we can do to improve the process, maybe simplify it, and yeah, and why we believe that governance is important for a DeFi project like this, and I mean, in a broader sense, like the importance of decentralization. That's obviously a big part of the ethos of DeFi and crypto in general. So yeah, so the floor is open now to anyone who has any questions. If anyone wants to start.
Yeah, hi guys, JB Good here. I know with DYDX, when they first came out, the derivatives and perpetuals on Ethereum, every time, well, the first voting they had, everyone got a hedgie, which was an NFT, and that holds value for the protocol for the future. I don't know, maybe we could sort of implement something like that, maybe. Just a thought.
What was the name of the protocol?
DYDX.
Kate, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry, I was just, yeah. So you're kind of saying that you think incentives like NFTs would help?
Maybe, gamify it, yeah.
Incentivize and gamify, I'm gonna write that in the notes. Cool, yeah. Thanks, JB.
Not a drama, pleasure.
Who else has thoughts on this topic? I think it's good that we break it down a bit, Omega, because there was a lot in there. And I think this question of like, how do we get more people participating is a good one to start off with. If anyone has.
Yeah, let's do one at a time, yeah. Yeah, that is something that we had in our last call, actually, and in our discussion with Raul from the Polkadot Council. He had interacted with somebody who had proposed something like kind of like a lottery. I think it involved NFTs as well for those who participate in governance. So it wasn't like a guaranteed NFT reward for everyone per se, but it was kind of like you know, if you participate in governance, you kind of put your name in the hat for potential reward. Yeah, I personally think that it's a bit of a fine line, because we want to encourage authentic participation, you know, based on a real understanding of what the protocol does, and you know, not encourage people to just participate because you know, they'll get some sort of novel or trivial reward out of it. But on the other hand, I do see certain kind of like marketing and promotional value to that. So I mean, yeah, I think it's just about finding a balance between not inviting like you know, airdrop or NFT hunters into the mix, you know, and you know, kind of kickstarting governance in a more authentic and or organic way.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that for the airdrop hunters and so forth. But initially with DYDX, nobody knew that they were going to receive an NFT for voting. It was based on the first snapshot. So it sort of then gave everybody an incentive to think, wow, I didn't vote on that proposal. Maybe now I should start voting, and maybe in the future I can receive an NFT as well.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that kind of stuff can definitely work. And also, like, I mean, to be fair, like, I mean, there's some projects that do this, and the NFT is more like a token of participation. It doesn't actually have any like value on the open market usually. Kind of like a POAP, like the proof of attendance protocol. I think that's what it stands for. People get those all the time. I mean, you know, for different actions they take in support of a protocol. And I mean, it kind of creates this like kind of a placebo incentive where you kind of feel good about it, but it's not actually, it's not necessarily creating any sort of gamification because it has no actual market value. So, so yeah, I think that's not necessarily a bad idea.
It's a fine line. It's definitely a fine line for incentivizing. I definitely agree with that.
We certainly thought about it, and I mean, we definitely want people to voice their ideas outside of this call. So I mean, in the Discord, we have a governance channel for both for Altair and for Centrifuge. So any ideas you have, I mean, that's the place, and we're always open to discuss anything like that. So
something we can borrow from another project is this East Denver Spork DAO Buffycorn Biddle Brigade, where actually having the NFTs tie into either voice or additional incentives in the future for a variety of rewards that the Treasury could give out could be interesting, and allowing a trade swappable NFTs, so that creates a further economy around the NFTs. And then maybe we could recruit some artistic folks that could assist with the creation of that. I'm not sure if we have the bandwidth to attend to that, but that could be a way to further gamify the participation and also tie in economic value to NFTs that we may give to participants.
okay, yeah, I mean, yeah,
I'll also add the referral NFT, what I'm talking about.
Okay, so it seems like NFTs are the way here, yeah, to increase participation. But yeah, I mean that was I did see that at ETH Denver actually, the Buffcorn Build Brigade, and yeah, I do believe that these things can be really great marketing tools in certain cases, and good promotional tools as well. On this particular topic of participation, did anybody else have any ideas they wanted to voice here? Okay.
Thinking that using the token as an underwriting mechanism is a good idea, but we can talk about that option, I guess, on the forum.
Do you mean the idea of the underwriters being like stakers or holders of the token?
Yeah, it's a few things you can do. It's like basically you have to stake you have to stake air tokens you know, against like issuer proposal in order for them to be validated and be able to borrow on a centrifuge platform, Altair platform. The other thing you can do is that you can vote with the air to let issuers or projects get finance on the platform. I don't know if it makes sense. So basically, you need a minimum of like 100,000 air in order to apply and list your projects on the platform. You can do the same thing with liquidity. You can say, hey, Aave liquidity if you want to have access to a liquidity provider, you need to stake you need to stack your air against a proposal like CRV does with Curve, for example. So yeah, few models like that works pretty well.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Fabian. Yeah. Could you maybe write that out as well in the governance channel? I'd be curious to hear more about that.
Sure, I can. I made a post, but I can be more specific about it. 100%. Let me do that by tomorrow on the Discord channel. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks. Okay. So, I know, Kate, you had some a question. I think you mentioned in the chat regarding, or it was one of them was, you know, why is governance important for a DeFi project? Did you maybe want to put that out there or elaborate on that?
Sure. I mean, I think I would hope that this is a really important perspective from everyone that's in this call, that having governance of the protocol as decentralized as possible is what is going to make that protocol or project like successful, for many reasons, some of them being legal, some of them being the fact that like the collective intelligence of this group can actually govern something better than a small circle or a couple of people making all the calls. And I'm just really curious about what others in this call think, like how important is governance to us, and yeah, how we can kind of get more people. It relates to your question, Amiga. If that is true, and that we do believe decentralized governance is crucial for the long-term health of the protocol, how do we get more people interested? What else should we be governing? What's on the horizon? I'd love to hear from anyone in the call who has thoughts on this.
Yeah, I would just like to add that, like, I think a lot of it has to do with a feeling of ownership. So, and not just reacting or having sort of a passive role in relation to the team. I mean, obviously there's a dev team which creates the protocol and creates the product, but it's an interesting question. Like with a project like this, a DeFi project, like to what extent there can be ownership in terms of major decisions on the protocol. And I think, and, you know, maybe Cassidy or Lucas can speak more on this, or maybe even in any of the devs. But I think as time goes on, we will find ways and mechanisms to open up some critical aspects of the protocol to kind of give more of a sense of ownership. Maybe that could be in the form of democratizing the way that pools are onboarded, further decentralizing the underwriting process. And as those things get implemented, as the protocol evolves, I think it'll open that up. It'll give people in this case specifically more opportunity to participate and actually feel like they're making these more major decisions within the protocol. So I did really quickly. I did see that Mike wanted to make a comment on the Centrifuge credit DAO.
Yeah, thanks. I know it wasn't in the schedule, but I want to give a brief introduction, at least to the community, about an effort that I have been working on amongst other people and wanted to bring forward. We are going to propose the formation of a Centrifuge credit DAO with the purpose of really providing the necessary information to communities to be able, like our protocol community partners, to really make the decisions necessary in onboarding new Centrifuge pools. So we want to take this from a credit angle, really provide a distilled version of due diligence that communities can easily digest and understand why we like specific assets, why we think they're safe, why we think they are good to ultimately be integrated with protocol partners like Aave and Maker and others that we'll work with in the future. We really want to collect a group of cross-protocol individuals. So trying to pull some individuals from the Maker community, from Aave community, from the outside world in the actual credit investing community, as well as members of the Centrifuge community, to provide that information, really to enhance the governance process for other protocols and arm them with, the information we think that they may need or that they may find useful to really make informed decisions on what we're doing. Like we're all aware that credit and real world assets are like a newer concept in crypto, maybe not, as intuitive to a bunch of users. And we really want to help empower those communities to understand what we're doing, understand the kind of risks and rewards of the various asset classes and asset pools that we might bring to the protocols. And I think that's something we're pushing ahead with now, and hopefully going to approach members over the next coming weeks. Please, it's not like an invite only thing. We really encourage anybody who thinks that they have something to offer to this and maybe the expertise that can help analyze some of these asset classes, or specifically just structured credit in general, to throw their hat in the ring and get in contact. And hopefully on a governance call in the next few weeks, we can give an update on where we are in the formation there.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. And that'll definitely it kind of open up the process for everyone as well. Anybody have any comments or questions on that?
A quick question. Why do we want to call it a separate DAO rather than a initiative, say, within Centrifuge? Will the DAO aggregate capital and put it into the tin pools? Does it serve another purpose besides sharing information and evaluations? Just kind of curious about the vision for the structure of what the new DAO may be like and how it could plug into the Centrifuge.
Yeah, I don't think in the first instance, I don't think we're focused on raising capital and investing. I think from a DAO perspective, we really want to gather individuals from protocols, like I said, from the real world, not just Centrifuge specific individuals who will receive some kind of incentive to do this work, and hopefully build a reputation as a viable counterparty within communities that we work with. But it's not to say that it's just like a Centrifuge initiative and being built by just Centrifuge team members to push our product outward. Really, the idea here is to gather a distributed group of professionals or experts that understand this stuff and are willing to lend their expertise to other communities who may make decisions about the Centrifuge asset pools.
Are you envisioning it would be specific to Centrifuge pools? I'm just concerned about this taking away bandwidth and attention from the Centrifuge community and value of CFG that we all care for, and turning into an initiative that may or may not support Centrifuge in large part.
I think the idea here is really to promote Centrifuge assets specifically and what we're doing here. I think building confidence with our partners and giving them the correct information, in the communities to make decisions on our asset pools is very important to our expansion and growth. Specifically thinking here around like the Aave real world asset market, as we talk about onboarding new pools, new centrifuge pools to that market, we want the Aave community that maybe doesn't have these expertise internally at this point to have the information that we think they need to be able to make a governance decision to onboard those pools. So I think it is really about furthering the centrifuge mission and furthering the real world asset narrative and integrating it more in the DeFi ecosystem. And I think that probably starts with education, right? And I think it has to come from Centrifuge, who's leading the way there and really the charge of these real world assets. And we need to work on educating and equipping other communities, I think, in the DeFi space with the knowledge they need to really make decisions and help us grow. But happy to share more info, Sam, if you want offline.
Yeah, sounds great. I would just follow up with one question as to, what information are we unable to provide right now, technically, or because of bandwidth that having a separate DAO will provide on assets?
I mean, as I'm sure you can appreciate, the variety of assets out there is quite large. We work with a number at Centrifuge. We can't have in-house experts on all various asset classes. That would just be a very expensive endeavor. So I think engaging a broader group of people that maybe have expertise in various verticals or niches is probably the best way to analyze the various assets coming through the Centrifuge platform. And I think it's also about building trust and not just having internal people at Centrifuge saying, hey, these are great, but also working with partners and experts more broadly that can help build like a consensus view on these versus just a single point view.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's a tall task. There's a lot of assets out there in the real world. And yeah, I mean, when we were in Youth Denver, I had a great conversation with, I don't know if you guys know Ashley from the Project Resource. They're a decentralized credit project, and it's people like her that I think would be great to partner with. Maybe invite them into this DAO, and I think partnerships from quality people and projects like that are generally a good thing.
I mean, I think that maybe my question to you would be like the goal here is to figure out how to educate more about the centrifuge assets we have, right? Is that correct?
Yep, to educate more about what we have, but also to create, I would say, a framework or some kind of consistency in how we're presenting these to other communities, something that they can understand quickly. Like due diligence can be a really long process. We want to distill that down into some information that's actionable and communities can make a decision on.
Maybe the word DAO here is what's causing the confusion, Sam and Mike. The conversation that you're having, like the goal for this is this like a maker core unit that's just organizing like part of the work that like the Centrifuge ecosystem does in sort of like a subgroup, or is this like a really a separate DAO?
I don't view it as like a core unit, because it's not only people that are going to be looking at this from a Centrifuge lens. Like I'm hoping that our partners may contribute, like maybe people from Maker or Aave will also be happy to have a look. And Yeah, that's my view for it. I'm not really sure. I haven't approached people yet to see what their kind of take is. I think this is the first kind of public unveiling, but I'm super happy to take feedback and like see how we can make this most effective. I think as like CFG community, and you know what's best for the protocol and what's best for our partners and how we can forward the real world asset mission. I think happy to take feedback, happy to take suggestions, happy for members to throw their hat in the ring, but I'll just want to get the idea out there of something that we were starting to think about.
Yeah, I think Sam, you're saying that, you know, you'd rather see this happen through TIN investment than CFG.
No, I think Lucas's attempt to disambiguate was helpful. Maybe the further disambiguation is that, look, I'm not concerned about who participates. I'm more concerned about it being a separate DAO with its separate governance, with its separate incentivization, with its separate token. Aave, Maker, other credit market participants may very well participate, and it's just a matter of making this a unit that caters to evaluation of centrifuge offered assets rather than all assets everywhere that may or may not help TVL and centrifuge.
Yeah, I think there might be a little confusion like that. Like there's no view of like spinning this up into like a token and some, you know, I think it really is focused on centrifuge assets and providing you know the work there to onboard those into these communities. So I think that's maybe the word group or you know something is better than the credit group. Something more of a committee or an evaluation or something like that is maybe a more fair word than DAO here, or more accurately descriptive. But I'll work on shaping that narrative, and I'll be definitely keep you in the loop, Sam.
Sounds great. Centrifuge scribers. Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, it seems like there's a little bit of semantics there, but yeah, thanks, Sam. And Mike. Yeah, we could make a forum post, as Kate's saying here about that, and continue the discussion there. Of course, in the channels too. We invite everyone to respond to these ideas in the channels as well, and create and foster a more robust discussion there. Okay, so I think we're gonna wrap up here pretty soon. But before we do, did anybody else have any ideas, questions, comments about governance generally, how to improve the process, any questions they have about the process? Or how they see it going forward?
I just want to say you guys doing an amazing job in building an amazing tech, and I'm very grateful to be part of this venture. We talk about things that can be improved, but I think we should also celebrate what has been done and you guys shipping, so congrats.
Thanks, Fabian.
Thanks, Fabian.
Yeah, hi, this is my first call. I'm just learning the ropes and trying to understand the context. But again, congratulations. It looks like this is something that will really help liberate a lot of the finances going forward for a lot of businesses. So looking forward to being a part of the group.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Renee.
Yeah, I hope to see you around in the channels, Renee. And if you need a hand with, anything, getting information, just reach out to Amiga or myself or any of the ambassadors.
All right, so I think we can continue this discussion in the Discord and in the forum. We're always going to we're definitely formulating different ideas for how to simplify the process. One thing we have on the horizon is potentially building out a UI UX for governance, or maybe utilizing a tool that some tooling that already exists to help simplify the process. I know a lot of people mentioned NFTs as incentives, and I think like I said, like we mentioned before, as the protocol evolves, I think we'll see an increased sense of ownership and opening up of different aspects of the protocol to the community. So yeah, so I think we'll start wrapping up then here. Thanks everyone for joining, and see you in the next one.
Polis looks interesting, Nico.
Oh yeah, let's see.
What is it though? I feel like I've used this before.
Nice link. Something we can check out.
I think it's a tool for mostly non-profit organizations to map, I don't know, different opinions, to find consensus. It's not tied directly to, I guess, blockchain projects, but yeah. Okay. But for governance, I guess, could be used.
Yeah, I guess in the pre-on-chain process, it could be.
Yeah.
Cool. I think it's always good to keep an eye out for tools for, the off-chain part of governance, as well as integrations for, or improvements in the UI. So keep it coming.
That's definitely off-chain part.
Definitely open to those ideas. Yeah.
Off-chain is still very important. Like, this is the off-chain governance, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can't get obsessed with just the voting. The hard way. Thanks, Renee. See you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Do you want to talk offline about the activation email? I'm not sure what you mean. You can just DM me if you don't want to talk about it here.
I'm talking about the gov.centrifuge.io.
You didn't receive an activation email?
Yes.
Do you know, this is like when you set up your account, you should have received an activation email.
Should I stop recording now?
Yes, please.
Thanks, guys.